Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another fresh new week. Weather in Melbourne is improving and it was beautiful yesterday. Thus, we opened up all of our by the pool huts and lilos and everything. And I did a big working bee around the outside of the house yesterday, which was unexpected, but then I just kept going and going and going and going. So this morning, I'm coming on live as usual, every Monday morning, 9 a.m. I'm on here delivering some small business gold nuggets and insights and lots of questions that I constantly get asked outside, in the offline world. I tend to answer here, and we've been meeting here for like nearly 4 years now. Good morning, Donna. Nice to see you. So I'm just going to do what I do normally, is share this live in a couple of groups that I obviously like for people to watch it in, because I just do this on my personal profile, but then I'll share it across our Ultimate Business Support group and Author Your Way to Riches. So if you're not part of those groups, make sure you join, because I'm sharing a group. I always get confused when I'm doing two things all at once. Okay, so Ultimate Business Support, here we go. I already pre-prepared my writing so I can cut and paste it. And one more. Good morning, Manya. I can't wait to see you at the upcoming retreat. It's only like, 26, 27 days to go for you guys. Actually, this morning, if any authors are watching, I am going to jump on after this call into our secret group. I want to do one live on one topic that everyone's been asking me about so much when it comes to their books. So I thought I'll do a live stream and answer all those questions in there. All right, share one more in one more group, and then we're going to get started, because it's not 9 o'clock yet. I always come in 5 minutes early to make sure everyone is here and ready to go. Boom, all the sharing is done. Good morning, Pauline, as well. All right, guys, so to this morning's live, the topic has come about due to some news that I had last night. My mentor, Mihir, had suddenly passed away just a few days ago. He wasn't my current mentor, but I worked with him I would say about 4 years ago. We had a 6-month engagement, and I wanted to dedicate this morning's live to him. I'm a big believer in mentors and people who have helped us along on this journey, and I wanted to talk about this topic about finding them, how to use them, how to listen to them, how to get the results and do the work. And I'm going to share a little bit of my story of how I found him, how I decided to work with him. And this is all, of course, valuable and relevant to what you guys should be, considering when you're on your own journey. And by the way, we should all be having more than one mentor in our lives, and learning from multiple people for multiple things. So I dedicate this morning's live to him. I want to share the wonderful and positive things, and of course express gratitude and appreciation for the help and the transformation that he was able to facilitate together with us on this journey. So I'll start off with how I found him, and this is again relevant. People often ask me, how do you find your mentors, Nat? And I've never been the kind of person who actually goes looking for a mentor. I don't go, I need a mentor, therefore I'm going to interview this person, that person, decide who I really think is a fit for me. In my experience of this whole, good morning, Tanya. In my experience of mentorship, I have always, you know how the saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher turns up. So for Mihir and myself, it was in the most unlikely situation. I was in Perth doing an event. I was pregnant with my third child, Zara. So you guys would know Zara's about to turn 4 in November. Well, you may not, but she is. I was pregnant with Zara. So this is going back, I guess, nearly 5 years ago. In the first trimester, and I was doing a workshop, a speaking gig at Coach and Connect, my coaching community invited me over there, and I was on this 7 or 8 day national tour, this is really the early days when I started traveling interstate. And I ran into a person at one of the speaking gigs, and he asked me, oh, do you currently have a mentor? And I said, I haven't had a mentor for 5 or 6 months, and I'm feeling that, I need one, but I cannot find anyone who can take, anyone that mentors someone, to a 7-figure business. My business was already at multiple 6 figures, and I was looking for something one-on-one. And he goes, oh, I know someone. Actually, I've been working with him as my own coach and mentor, and if you like, I can connect you. He actually lives in Melbourne, and that's and this is over in Perth. And I said, oh, okay, cool. All right, well, if you think that would be good for me, connect me up, and we'll have a chat. So I got back to Melbourne, and I told Stuart, and we contacted Mihir. And we got on a phone call to get to know each other, and we spoke for about an hour, and everything sounded amazing and great, and and I was and also I just want to flag why I wanted to also get a mentor. And I was feeling and I guess we never go looking for a solution or for help unless everything is absolutely amazing. So whenever I have felt I have hit a point where I haven't, I'm not getting the results, or I'm not moving, I'm not pushing through the next level. But at this time I was, like, as I said, 2 months pregnant with my 3rd child, about to enter a period where maybe I wouldn't be able to work as much, and I was the sole provider within the family because Stuart was kind of working behind the scenes. So this national tour that I did, I actually spoke in front of over 130 people over different cities. I was exhausted because that first trimester of being pregnant was, really, really tiring. You don't show, but it's super tiring. And I ended up coming home having made 0 sales, 0, right? And I was just like down in the dumps. I was crying. I was going, what the hell's going to happen when I'm going to have this baby? How the hell am I going to make this work? And this is where, we kind of, I guess I put the intention out there to meet a mentor that would help me. Even though my business was at multiple 6 figures, you have to maintain that. Otherwise, when you stop, everything stops, right? And so I was in pain, right? And so we spoke to Mihir, and he took us through everything. And by the way, let me just frame something for you. So I had 2 previous one-on-one mentors. My first one, Peter, I had him for 2.5 years. My second one, Melissa, I was with her for about 6 months. And the most I had ever invested in a one-on-one mentor in the past, this is in the early days, was $1,000 a month. And Mihir said everything went great with Mihir, and he then was time to say, so, are you ready to create a change, and we said yes. So then the next question came up, and he said, so would $5,500 per month be, over 6 months, be what did he say? I'm trying to find the exact words. A reasonable investment for you to get what you want. And I said, what? Would $5,500 a month over 6 months would be a reasonable investment to get what you want? And my subconscious mind wouldn't hear it, because right now what I was doing in my head was going, okay, 6 times 500, that's $33,000 in a period of 6 to 8 week period where I have made no sales. And I'm feeling at the lowest point in my business, and I'm going, what the hell? Anyway, I was asked what again? He goes, 5,500. Finally, the 3rd time he said 5,500. A month. And I'm like, oh. And I just looked at Stuart, because we were on a 3-way meeting, and I said, okay, we need to talk about this by ourselves, right? We'll come back to you. And we hung up the phone. And I looked at each other and go, okay, well, this is like 6 times a month than what we would normally have paid. But then also we're wanting to take our business from multiple 6 figures to 7 this year. And this was the period, for those of you who are my authors and watching this is after retreat 2 or 3. And our numbers were starting to dwindle down a little bit because we had exhausted our warm network. And I always talk about, there's a certain point you're going to exhaust your warm network, and you're going to have to invest in paid advertising to keep being in front of people who have never heard from you from a bar of soap. And so I didn't know what I could do. I didn't know why, I wasn't converting, yet everyone was so inspired and amazed at all these events that I was hosting, and I was working so hard to fill them with no paid advertising. And I filled them, and I spoke in front of groups of people everywhere, and I started that national travel, to meet more people interstate, but it just, something wasn't clicking, right? And so Stuart and I thought about working with Mihir for 3 or 4 days. Hey, Melissa, nice to have you here. And I was just like, in my mind, my ego and everything that comes up when we are faced with a leap of faith decision, right? So I'm pregnant 3 months. I haven't made sales for 6 to 8 weeks. I'm feeling like nothing's working, that my business was going to implode. And my ego was going, it's not the right time, or you don't have the money. It's too expensive, right? And I was shitting myself. How frustrating when you do all the work but can't convert. Yeah, Tanya, exactly. Running events is not for the lighthearted. And to this day, bums on seats is the one thing that most people struggle with. And so for 4 days, I sat there, and my ego kept saying, it's not the right time, you're pregnant, you're about to have a baby like in 5-6 months time, don't have the money because you haven't made any sales, $33,000, and luckily Mihir did say, look, you guys are not tied into a contract. If you feel like after a month or two, this is not working out for you, you can stop. So Stuart and I kind of chose to say to ourselves, well, okay, if we couple of months, we should be able to start seeing some results. So $11,000, are we able to put on the line $11,000 and just say, if that went, that we wouldn't be totally distraught. And that made it easier, but still 4 days I was thinking, and my little ego. And so one night, as I'm falling asleep on the 3rd or 4th night, this is a question a lot of people, this is, and as I say, I'm teaching guys a lot of things here that go on in our mind when we're making a decision to work with somebody, which is never should be an easy decision, because if you're not feeling sick in your stomach, that means you're not ready. You need to feel sick to your stomach, and that's how I was feeling. And a lot of questions that going through our mind is, will this work for me? Will this work for me, right? Because it's all well and good for other people, but they must be special, right? Will this work for me is the wrong question. So as I'm falling asleep on the 4th night, trying to decide whether to work with Mihir or not, which I wanted to, because everything he said was what I wanted to hear. Everything that he said we could do together, I wanted that result. And I said to myself, being the coach, knowing and having coached many people, Natasha, what is this really about? That time and money are just an excuse. So what is underneath that? Because the problem is not the problem. You're making the problem, it's not the right time because you're pregnant, and you're making the problem that it's too expensive. But if you really wanted something, you'll figure out how, right? And as I was thinking to myself, that finally the little voice came up underneath what the real thing is. And that is the question that everyone should be asking. Not, will this work for me? But I said, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to do the work? Because well and good, every time you have invested in a mentor, in a program, there's been a shitload of work, because you need to transform, you need to change, you gotta have another rocket to come off the ground. So when that little question said, am I willing to do the work, then I had to rewind back the clock and go, well, okay, look at your past mentors. Look at Peter, look at Melissa, look at this program or that program that you did. Did you do the work? Did you get a result? And to me, in my life, I have. And I go, this is going to be hard because you're pregnant, right? Thanks, Manya. And because you're pregnant and all that stuff. So you're going to have to exert a little bit more effort than normally when you're, not pregnant with your 3rd child. But if you want your business to grow to a point where, you know, it's that my ideal, I said to him, this is what I said to him, my ideal would be to have my retreats full 6 months ahead of time. You know what I mean? Like, not full, like well booked out, so that I'm not freaking out. I've got 2 people coming to retreat and all that sort of stuff. And this is my dream life, would be to have my retreats really well booked out. Well, I'll just fast forward. It's 5 years on now since I worked with him, you guys. And this happened way earlier than 5 years. But sitting to you today, we have 1 spot left at the November retreat. 1. It's fully, like, pretty much fully booked. We've got a Melbourne event this Thursday. February is already at 16 retreat attendees, which is pretty much nearly getting closer to capacity. And May is already at 10. Okay, so like till August next year, we have very well booked out. And this is 5 years later, obviously. So anyway, when I asked myself, am I willing to do the work versus will this work for me? The decision was, well, you've done it before, you're going to do it again, and you're going to listen like you always have, and you're going to get out there and do the work. And so we signed up with Mihir. And we were going to a Bali holiday, and I said, can we please not start till our Bali holiday finishes, because every moment, every day, I guess having him would have counted, right? And that investment for me at that time was a lot. Sorry, but being pregnant is actually the perfect time you get it sorted before it's the ticker. Yeah, and Audrey, you know, the busiest people and the people who have a ticking time frame do have a lot more energy to exert and set things up. So I know what you mean. Even my first child, I had my first book to finish, I had my coaching course to finish, and I got everything done. It's a wonderful deadline having children. With every one of them, I had wonderful deadlines, but still doesn't make you freak out any less that you're the only breadwinner in the family, and you've got your family relying on you and your income. So we signed up, and he said, look, I'll chat to you for a little bit before you go away, because it's like 5 or 8 days before you go away. And, you know, I'll give you some tips if you've got some chats with potential clients coming up, and then we'll start after you come back. And we did. He did half an hour. We chatted, and he gave me some tips on speaking to people who had some potential sales calls. And I signed up a couple of clients before I went away to that Bali trip, which was wonderful. That was about 10 grand, I think, worth sales. When I came back, we had our big, massive first session, a lot of change work. So when you hire mentors, you're either going to hire for change work or strategy, or a little bit of a blend of both. But generally, some mentors are better at the one thing and others at the other thing. So you might need a combination of them at certain periods, at certain times. So he did a bit of change work at that very first session and gave us a couple of tips. And then what happened was we did $80,000 in the next 8 days. 8 days. And then we did $250,000 in the next 8 weeks. Okay, so in hindsight, was that the right decision? Yes, of course it was the right decision. But we don't have the luxury of hindsight when we're hiring a mentor or going into a program. We don't have the luxury. We just need to know that we're willing to do the work. And I did bloody hell did a lot of work. And that's what everything settled down. And he's the one that encouraged me to go and start doing Facebook ads, to start standing in front of new people all over the country and now the world, you know, because organically there was only so many people that I could get into my workshops, and I need to scale my business. So that was really, really important. And we actually only did 3 months with him in the beginning. I got overwhelmed with the amount of influx of work and business and all that. And I said, Mihir, can we please stop and let me have this baby? Once I settle in with the 3rd baby, we'll do the next 3 months, which happened in the following year. So I believe Mihir was a change work type of mentor. With the spiritual side to him, and he also did a lot of a little bit of tweaking of strategy, because we already had our system, we already had the point of difference and all that kind of stuff, a tiny little suggestions in how I should present and sell and all that sort of stuff, and the rest was up to me. It was wonderful. So I made some notes here, you guys, to give you, I guess, some aha moments or insights, or how to look at mentorship and how to treat it, and by the way, if you have questions, please post them up. But for those of you that are joining us halfway through the call, this live was initiated by the news that I found out last night that my mentor Mihir, this is a mentor I had, as I said, 4 years ago, passed away suddenly, I think 3 or 4 days ago, at a retreat he was at. So I just wanted to honor him and dedicate this to him. And I've just shared the story of how I decided to join him and the mindset that I have to have and how I found him, which is all really relevant to what I'm talking about today. So here we go. The first thing that I covered off was the teacher turns up when the student is ready. You don't necessarily need to do a ton of research to find someone. I think you naturally will attract someone who can show you the way. That's how I attracted Peter, my first mentor, Melissa, my second mentor. These are the one-on-one mentors I've had. Lately, I haven't worked anyone particularly in one-on-one, but I have been investing twice a year into high-end programs that are going to teach me how to solve a particular problem. Okay, last year I wanted to learn all about evergreen webinars and how to set like an evergreen webinar funnel. And I invested in Russell Rufino's Clients on Demand program, and I went through that and I got my return on investment on that and all that sort of stuff. We work at a high level with our Facebook ads manager, which we continue learning how to be better and better at that. And I consider that person actually more of a one-on-one mentor at this point in time. Okay, so number 2 on my list here was make sure they walk their talk. So when you actually are speaking to them, when you are actually, have a look at who have they worked with, speak to the people they've worked with. Obviously, my recommendation to me here came from someone who was already working with him, right? So do they walk their talk? Because there are a lot of mentors and coaches out there that will say, we're going to make you a 6-figure business or 7-figure business, and they can't rub 2 cents together. So be very, 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 very careful who you hire and who have they worked with. Go and perhaps do that due diligence, not so much needing to research every single person that's out there, but do your research in terms of do they walk their talk. Okay, so then decide whether it's, do you need someone for change work or strategy mentorship, okay? So as I said, they can at some stage do one and the other, but I felt when I was working with Mihir, we did a lot more change work, tiny little bit of strategy work on our journey. So so change work, generally, if you feel like you're stuck somewhere that you're not hitting that ceiling, getting to the next level, that's generally when it comes in. And usually earlier in the businesses where a lot of self-limiting beliefs are standing in our way and all that kind of stuff, that's where we need that more transformational type of mentorship. And right now, what I do is I hire on strategy. As I said, the strategy on the Evergreen webinar, lots of other strategies around Facebook, things like that. They're the things that I hire on now. It's more strategy. What's the next thing? Because I've gotten over myself. I know I can add value. I know I'm good enough, all of that sort of stuff. Now I just need the strategy to keep tweaking and adjusting and leveraging the business, right? Okay, we talked about the question. Don't ask, will this work for me? When you're hiring a mentor, ask the question, am I willing to do the work? Am I willing to do the work? That is the question. You take responsibility, not because when you're asking a question, will this work for me? You're putting responsibility onto the person, the program, or whatever it is. But if you ask, am I willing to do the work? You're taking responsibility that you're going to follow what it is that they say. And most of the time, why most people don't get a result out of a mentor is because they don't listen, they don't do the work. And therefore, they think just because I'm investing in someone, magically everything should start happening around me, which it doesn't. You got to get your hands dirty, pound the pavement, and get out there and hustle and understand that sometimes, you need to go through a hell of a lot of no's to get to the yeses, yeah? Number 4 was believe it will work for my list because sometimes people like can hire someone and they go, am I really getting the right information? Am I really being told what I should be doing? And the worst thing that they do is they start asking for advice elsewhere or advice from people that are not getting the results. And then they get confused and they get frozen in paralysis and fear, and they don't know what to do next. Okay? And that's the worst thing you can do. So believe it will work. I always say, you know, when I joined Mihir, because the investment, as I said, was 5,500 a month, I said, no matter what he's doing to me, it's working. I believe and choose to know, because change work can be kind of a little bit woo-woo and like out there. You know, and, you know, you could be saying certain things, and for the logical mind, it's like, what the hell are you know, like you could choose not to believe it, and therefore you're not going to get the change, right? But no, I said, no, this is working. Whatever's doing, it's magical and it's transforming me. Thank you, Emma. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So, okay, so I believe it was working, and that's the same thing. Whenever you hire a mentor, you have trusted them to hire him. You trust they're going to look after you. You got to believe in them. Number 5, remember that mentors are tweakers. You will have to still drive your own bus. I always look at my mentors, they're tweaking me on my journey. They're kind of, if I want to go in a certain direction, maybe they'll just go, no, stop there, or come back in line here. You know, I know Peter needed to tweak me and refocus me a lot of the time, because I just wanted to do everything all at once, being fresh and start in my business 1 to 2.5 years. When I was with him, actually, I hired him when I was 3 months into the business, and we went on for 2.5 years. So his job was to keep bringing me into focus. You know, don't try to be everything to everyone else. Focus, 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 focus. You know, get to your one thing, if you like. And so he was my tweaker, and that's how I see all of them. You know, they haven't created what I have created for my creativity, but they have just adjusted and kept me on the path that I should be. And maybe with their outsider perspective and their results that they're ahead of me in the journey, they have also told me, don't do this, do that, because that's going to get you to your result faster, because I know I've seen it and done it before. And this is what I say to my authors. Don't reinvent the wheel. Listen to what has worked. Of course, you're going to have your own little strategies here and there, but always do the homework I give you first. And that was my next one. Do the homework first, then your extra initiatives, right? So whenever a mentor or a program gives you homework and you've got steps to take and actions, because most of them have, I have faith in you as my mentor. Thank you, Margarita. You know, follow the steps that they tell you, then do your extracurricular activities. Because and that's what I always did. You know, when I was working with Peter, I think at the beginning we were only weekly. And I think with Mihir we were weekly. He'd give me homework. I'd go and execute that in the first 2 or 3 days after our session. Then I would do extra things that I wanted to do. So always do their homework first that they give you, then do your extra things if you want to do extra things, right? All right, number 7 was don't have more than one mentor at a time. Okay, so I can see people over-investing and over-committing and then getting overwhelmed, because every different mentor will give you a different route to follow. Why? Because they have had a different experience of achieving a goal in a certain way. Okay, and there's many different ways to reach a goal or an outcome, right? So if you're listening to more than one mentor, you could start to feel that one mentor is negating the other and vice versa. Or then the worst situation is when you start to listen to the outside world. If you've posted some asking for advice on social media, and you start, you know, getting advice from people who don't even have the results, all of a sudden you start mistrusting your mentor, or, you know, it's like, oh, but these people said that. Stop, please don't do it. Stay nice and quiet, put the blinkers on, work with that one person until such time that you've achieved a result with them. Then you can move on. Certainly I'm saying not to invest in different people. I have had, you know, as I said, I've done probably 10 high-end programs. I've had 3 or 4 one-on-one mentors on my journey, but never all at the same time. Do one thing, finish it, you know, get your return on investment, do the work, then get on to the next thing. And you might want to have a little short break between, you know, mentors, and I have done that as well. You know, you don't have to be always being mentored. So number 8 was don't listen to others who don't have results.
they will just confuse you. And the famous saying, a confused mind will always say no, is so true. And that's the same thing when you're talking to your clients. Potential clients, if you over confuse them, their mind's going to go, nah, this is too hard basket, I'm not going there. Number 9 is stay in touch. We have always stayed in touch with mentors, even if barely through social media. Just, it's nice to, be connected. Because I sent here quite a few referrals of people who wanted more one-on-one work, and it wasn't the work that I was great at, that he's great at. So then I would send him a little message saying, hey, I've got someone who's interested in something what you do, like the change work, so would you be interested in talking to them and potentially working with them? And therefore it's a great collaboration, and we have always had the opportunity to refer to one another, and as you grow with them, then you kind of climb up and end up being at similar levels, and then that's magical collaborations with high quality people. And number 10 is, it was invest in different mentors to teach you different things, right? You cannot learn everything from one person. We do need different strategy, different way of thinking, and it always expands us and makes us think a little bit differently. So it's really important to look out for things that interest you, but as I said, don't commit to too many things all at once. Just do the work to completion, or as much as you can, 80% through something before you go on to the next thing. Hey, Yvonne. Okay, so I trust this has brought about some thoughts around how you've looked at mentorship, how, as I said, I shared how I find mine, the importance of knowing that you're willing to do the work with them to get the result. And this, I have no doubt if you do the work that you will get a result. And if sometimes you start off thinking you're going to get an X result, you might end up with a Y result. But I always know, as long as work has been done, whatever that X or Y result is always going to be fulfilling and rewarding. And you're going to go, you know what, even though I started thinking this is what's going to happen and now this has happened, you still feel amazing about it, because there was action and you follow through and you weren't being lazy and think that something was just magically going to appear. So on this note, I just want to send my condolences and best wishes to Mihir's family. I did have the pleasure of meeting his wife and gorgeous son a few years ago, and we told our children this morning about what happened, and we send our love and gratitude for being part of our lives and creating that transformation for us at that time. And of course, 5 years on, after I've worked with him, my dream life of having my retreats booked out in advance, like by 9 months now, it feels really amazing. So all the best to the friends and families and or people who've been touched by him, and much gratitude and appreciation. And I'm sure him being a spiritual mentor, he has transitioned into his next stage of being, right? So thank you very much, guys. Any authors that are on the call still now, I'm going to go across in the authors group and just do a quick educational on something that I've been asked about a lot lately. So go across to our secret group. Otherwise, if you're in Melbourne and you've never been to my half-day workshop, next one is in Doncaster. There's about 3 spots left in the room. Private message me if you want the link. It's going to be at the Beaumont from 9 till 1. It's my signature workshop, probably done it 150 times now. My father-in-law think potentially might be popping in on that one, and it's the last one for 2018. And then, of course, guys, the planners. So there's only about 100 left in my garage. I've sold over 200. These ones are starting soon. Their starting date is, it's end of November. So what are we, literally they start in 2 or 3 weeks. So you can actually start using it. I've got limited stock of black. I've only got, I think, 20 black and 80 pink left. I'll post the link on those as well, because they've been selling like hotcakes, and I know as soon as we hit like December, January, everyone just goes crazy and they get sold out. So if you want those, grab your hands, grab a copy. All right, you're welcome. Thanks, Jessica, and I'll see you guys next Monday.
Same time, same place. I'm back on board, like, you know, regularly now, because I'm home. I'm not flying for 3 months. Can you believe it? 3 months is like 3 years in my world of not flying. Have an amazing also Melbourne Cup weekend. Actually, no, it's the Melbourne Cup. I might come on live next Monday. We're going to do a 4-day weekend with the kids in Phillip Island around here. Not flying, just a 1 hour drive away. But yeah, I'll let you guys know. Have an amazing and back a winner, right? Bye, guys.